Life Audio.
Welcome to the Crosswalk Devotional. We're glad to have you listening with us. Today's topic is what we can do when we feel like we're in a period of waiting. We'll return with the devotional after a brief message from our sponsors. Working While We Wait, written and read by Deidre Braley. Genesis chapter 39, verses 22 through 23 says, "And the keeper of the prison put Joseph in charge of all the prisoners who were in the prison. Whatever was done there, he was the one who did it. The keeper of the prison paid no attention to anything that was in Joseph's charge, because the Lord was with him." I have been attached to my phone for the last 10 days, refreshing my email at consistent intervals between all my daily tasks. Unload the dishwasher, check my email. Walk the dog, check my email. Kiss the kids goodnight, check my email. I'm in the querying process, which for a writer means the period of time when you send your heart and soul and life's work into the world, and then wait to see whether anyone cares or if you should go back to your day job. When I left my career 2 years ago, I had my eyes set on one goal: to publish a book. I thought by now I'd be well on my way, would have something to show. But it turns out there have been a lot of slow-moving parts, like the gears on a clock moving at half speed. How infuriating! I've been waiting for this email to let me know whether it's finally time, to do the work I've been wanting to do for so long now. This holding pattern is nothing compared to what Joseph experienced, though. The son of Israel, or Jacob, Joseph was his father's favorite. As if it wasn't already enough that his dad had given him a beautifully colored cloak, Joseph also started having dreams that his brothers and family would one day bow down before him. Ouch. His brothers decided to kill him. At the last minute, though, his brother Reuben stepped in with an alternative plan to try to spare his life. They'd just throw him in a pit and leave him. While Reuben was away, however, the brothers decided they might as well make some money from the whole ordeal, and sold Joseph to some Ishmaelites on their way to Egypt instead. Now, this could read as an incredibly cruel and frustrating tale, one in which a promising young man's life is needlessly upended. Being sold into slavery in a foreign land sounds like the kind of holding pattern you don't escape from. But Scripture tells us otherwise. The Lord was with Joseph, and he became a successful man, and he was in the house of his Egyptian master, Genesis 39:2 says. In fact, Joseph was so respected, and things went so well under his care, that his master, Potiphar, put him in charge of everything he had. Later, when Potiphar's wife wrongfully accuses Joseph of indecency, he's thrown into another holding pattern, this time a jail cell. But just as he did after being sold to Potiphar, Joseph, with God's help, finds favor with the keeper of the prison, who puts him in charge over everything there. And Genesis 39:23 tells us, "Whatever he did, the Lord made it succeed." Joseph is the embodiment of the old adage, "Bloom where you are planted." It's probably safe to assume that Joseph didn't want to be sold to an Egyptian master and would have preferred to spend that time otherwise. And it's probably even safer to suggest he didn't want to spend years of his life in a jail cell for a crime he didn't commit. But what stands out about Joseph's story is the way he used the time that others may consider wasted. Rather than mope and wallow or wait for it to be over so he could just get on with his life. Joseph walked closely with God and worked at whatever was put before him with integrity and wisdom. It was his time served in Potiphar's house and the jail cell that prepared him, though somewhat unconventionally, to eventually serve Pharaoh as governor of all the land of Egypt. God used Joseph to execute integral parts of his much greater plan for humanity. And it was during the times of waiting and holding and longing for a change that he prepared Joseph to do the important work he had ahead. Joseph chose to do what he could, where he could, while he waited to see what God had for him next. He made good use of the time in between. When we find ourselves in our own holding patterns, we can look at how God was with Joseph in the waiting and be encouraged. Yes, it might be taking longer than we'd like, and no, we might not understand how it's going to result in anything of value. But our job isn't to worry about all that. Our job is to put our hand to what's before us with integrity and to walk with God while we do it. Whether we're longing for career-changing news or freedom from existing commitments, or just for something fresh and exciting to happen in our lives, today, let's take a page from Joseph's book and assess what we can do with where we are right now at this very point in our lives. We might be surprised to see how God can use that humble obedience. Intersecting faith and life. What areas of your life feel like holding patterns or jail cells right now? Consider bringing them before the Lord and asking Him, how can I use this time in a way that would be fruitful? What would it look like to walk with you and work with integrity in this area? Will you please give me endurance to stay faithful in this season of waiting? Or would you give me a glimpse of how you might use this work as part of your grander plan for my life and the lives of others? Further reading. To read Joseph's entire story, read through Genesis chapters 37 through 50.
The Crosswalk Devotional is a production of Life Audio and Salem Media. If you liked what you heard today, please take a second to rate and review this podcast in your favorite podcast app so that more listeners like you can find the show. For more faith-filled, inspirational podcasts, visit us at lifeaudio.com.